Hello guys, this is Steno for All YouTube channel. Here we provide you Hindi or English shorthand dictations at different speed. Today I am going to provide you English dictation at this. Get ready for 160 word per minute shorthand dictation. Start. 3 years ago, the Centre and the States of the Union of India struck a grand bargain, resulting in the launch of the Unified Goods and Services Tax (GST) era. The states gave up their right to collect sales tax and sundry taxes, and the Centre gave up excise and services tax. The nationwide GST promised frictionless commerce across state borders, buoyant and leak-proof tax compliance, and removal of inefficiencies like the cascade of tax on tax. This historic grand bargain was the result of painstaking consensus building, which inter alia involved addressing the apprehension of states of revenue loss due to the GST, abdication of responsibility. Their consent was secured by a promise of reimbursing any shortfall in tax revenues for a period of 5 years. This reimbursement was to be funded by a special cess called the GST compensation cess. The promised reimbursement was to fill the gap for an assured 14% year-on-year tax growth for 5 years, and it was generous to a fault. Neither the national aggregate nor any of the major states had this record for the previous 5 years. But that was not the only fault with the design, which had also failed to learn from the successful design of harmonizing value-added tax VAT rates across the nation implemented just a decade ago. VAT was the precursor to GST and also needed a consensus. That design to had an inbuilt reimbursement formula, but that tapered over the years, making room for incentives for tax effort from the states sort of skin in the game. As the economy battles a pandemic and recession, the tax collection has dropped significantly, while expenditure needs are sharply higher, especially at the front line of the battle at the state level. But it seems that the states have been told that they are on their own to meet the shortfall in revenues. Using an equivalent for the force majeure clause in commercial contracts, the Centre is abdicating its responsibility of making up for the shortfall in 14% growth in GST revenues to the states. The onus is on the Centre. This is wrong on many counts. First, the states do not have recourse to multiple options that the Centre has, such as issue of a sovereign bond in dollars or rupees, or a loan against public sector unit shares from the Reserve Bank of India. Second, the Centre can anyway command much lower rates of borrowing from the markets as compared to the states. Third, in terms of aggregate public sector borrowing, it does not matter for the debt markets nor the rating agencies whether it is the states or the Centre that is increasing their indebtedness. Fourth, fighting this recession through increased fiscal stimulus is basically the job of macroeconomic stabilization, which is the Centre's domain. Fifth, and most importantly, breaking this important promise using the alibi of the COVID-19 pandemic causes a serious dent in the trust built up between the Centre and the states. Cooperative federalism is in the nature of a repeated game between the two entities, and every action must think of the future consequences, not just the immediate ones. Will it not weaken the foundation of trust? Cotille too would have advised the sovereign against reneging on the promised ballot, as fulfilling the obligation helps build trust with sub-sovereigns. The Australian example. The issue of GST compensation to the states is just the latest in the bumpy 3-year journey of the new tax design. It is clear that the design needs a radical overhaul. Just tinkering with the compensation mechanism or frequently changing rate slabs or purchasing more goods in the sin tax cess category to earn revenue that is not shareable with the states is not the way forward. What we instead need is a grand bargain 2.0 between the sovereign and the sub-sovereign entities. What would this be based upon? We have to go back to first principles. GST is a destination based consumption tax which must include all goods and services with very few exceptions, such as food and medicine. That widening of the tax base itself will allow us to go back to the original recommendation of a standard rate of 12% to be fixed for at least a 5-year period. A comparison with Australia, which also coincidentally shares its GST anniversary with India, is apt. For the past 2 decades, their GST rate has been constant at 10%. Of course, India's single rate of 12% has to cover petrol, diesel, electricity, transport, and real estate as well. Some extra elbow room for the state's revenue autonomy is obtained by allowing the state's non-vettable surcharges on a small list of sin goods such as liquor, tobacco, polluting goods such as sport utility vehicles, and industrial fuels such as diesel, aviation turbine fuel, and coal. A low moderate single rate of 12% encourages better compliance, reduces the need to do arbitrary classification, and discretion reduces litigation and will lead to buoyancy in collection. Incidentally, this design will scrupulously avoid the bogey of a revenue neutral rate RNR, which needlessly occupied the attention of lawmakers and officials. GST is a long term structural reform, while RNR is a short term and basically an elusive concept. In the long term, there are many changes in consumption patterns, production configurations, and locations which cannot be anticipated, and hence a static concept of RNR cannot be referenced. The commitment to a low and stable rate, Australia and many other federal democracies, is a must. Of course, the compensation come reimbursement incentive can remain, but more in the nature of what was done for VAT harmonization. Third tier of government. This new grand bargain must recognize the increased importance of the third tier of government. Even after 28 years of the 73rd and 74th amendments, the local governments do not have the promised transfer of funds, functions, and functionaries. These local bodies face increased responsibility of providing government services, especially in view of increased urbanization and decentralization. Of the 12% GST, 10% should be equally shared between the states and the center, and 2 must be embarked exclusively for the urban and rural local bodies, which ensures some basic revenue autonomy to them. The actual distribution across panchayats, districts, and cities would be given by respective state finance commissions. GST consumption tax paid by every citizen establishes a tighter link between the governed and the government. The quality of governance improves as also the tax base is better aligned with responsibilities of various tiers of government. Other changes. This fresh approach also calls for an overhaul of the interstate GST and the administration of the e-way bill. Research papers by Bhaskar and Kelkar reforming integrated GST towards accelerating exports policy brief by Dr. V. Bhaskar and Dr. Vijay Kelkar and National Agenda for 2019, a proposal for the GST reform by Dr. V. Bhaskar and Dr. Vijay Kelkar describe the simplified mechanism which essentially reduces the transaction costs drastically. The current system is too complex and burdensome. We also need to zero rate exports. GST is a crucial and long term structural reform which can address the fiscal needs of the future, strike the right and desired balance to achieve cooperative federalism, and also lead to enhanced economic growth.